Hello! Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls. Oh, to internet. Oh, wait a second. There we go. Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls to the internet. I am Hakyo, your demon cinephile. And I'm sorry for the long wait. A bunch of things just came up in the last moment. But it's fine. We're here. Good. We're ready to go. So, how was everybody's day today? How was everybody's day? Work, friends, yeah. I played around and been lazy. Wish I could have been lazy today, but I couldn't. What are we doing tonight? Again, we are reading just a little bit of Higurashi. Not sure how long we're going to stream, but a little bit longer last time we did it. But I just want to... What was I looking for? Yeah, just get some stuff done. Just get a little bit of the game done. I have other things to do. I got clothes to wash. I got these videos to edit that I've been putting off for a minute. I need to finish it. And not need to, it's not the good word. I want to finish it. It's just been busy and lazy. Busy and lazy, busy, lazy, busy, lazy. Those are my greatest adversaries. Ever since I was a child. They always find a way to sneak in and ruin my life. No, but not joking aside. We're good. What is this? One second. What the hell is the cord? There we go. Over there. I had this other wire just hanging about and got caught and tangled in my... Why am I turning around like that? Why am I turning around? Oh god. Alright, well, I guess that fixed itself, right? Nothing for me to do. But no, let's get the game up and running. Give me a second. Alright. Let's see. And give me a second. I want to make sure the audio's coming through because last time you streamed this VN, you had a bunch of audio issues. Oh my god. I remember breaking things! Is that my nature of a demon? No, here we go. There we go. Okay, the game is coming through. Why do I sound like this? What's this humming noise? Again, let me see. Can I do something about that? Let me see. Okay, can't. Alright, just let me turn the audio up just a little bit. Yeah, and I had trouble with that last time. Alright. Oh. These headphones are all broken. I need to get new ones. Alright. Pop you. Fix that. Pop it back in. wrong button. It's the cry of the Higurashi. Yeah, the game sounds kind of low on your guys' end, so I'm just going to turn up just a slight. I remember last time the game was too loud, so I'm just going to put up this much. Just by that much. Not too high. I'm going to put it on full screen. More for me than for you. You guys won't be able to tell. As can you? Is it looking different to your guys' end? I don't think it does. I mean, just for my benefit. Nope, looks the same to you guys. Yeah, let me get this chat up. Alright. Let's continue. This free study period was a convenient. Yes. This free study period was a convenient time to consider where I stood. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with them. After interacting with Oshi-san multiple times, I could see it as I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No, calling it a warning was just my habit of understanding things. It probably has no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves more time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me. They were just biding their time. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. The chilling sensation of my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the boy who was using this seat until last year when he disappeared. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Damn. I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never. But were they really going to kill me? I had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. Even having witnessed all their suspicious behavior, a morning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No, that's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends. Covering for them. My life was in danger. Or was it? Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, those points were something that I should have been deliberated on a long time ago. But really, Rina and the rest of them, were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me with these unresolvable trains of thoughts. Are you an idiot, Keiichi Marabara? The answer should be obvious. But maybe that sewing needle might have just been an accident, right? How could you scrub and drop a sewing needle into a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt can only go so far. Both Rena and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously. But maybe it was all some sort of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? It wasn't just suspicious. It was outright ludicrous, right? Rena corrected me for lying. And Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. Rena was standing outside my door, eavesdropping for a solid hour. She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. For a whole hour outside your room? And is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? You heard from Oshi-san, didn't you? But what Rena did at her former school? But at school, she said it was Oyashiro-sama's fault. She...
いい加減にしろよ、前原圭一。お前、命を狙われてるって自覚あるのかよ。
Oh God! That was a great drop. Bravo for the voice actor does Keiichi. I inadvertently blurted out those words. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth. Even though I could feel the murderous intent from Rena and the others, part of me somewhat was still trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. I knew that. But I was just your average student. A man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends, who I had been happily laughing together with up until now, until last Sunday, just intend to kill me? Right? This time, I remembered to keep my voice down so only I could hear it. There was one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Rena and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Oshi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I need to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell singling the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were putting their desks together in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would probably have happily jumped into that circle. Hi, Satoko! The way Satoko spoke was so typical and familiar, it almost physically hurt. Seeing Rena's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Hey, Keiichi. Maybe Oshi-san is just some enormous jerk, trying to separate me from the others by lying to me. slap. Trying to explain such a weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face.
Keiichi-kun?
Oh god, he really did it. Yeah. Rena was trying to kill me. I wish someone would tell me it was just a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was the one or not. I just wanted someone to say it was. Gah! Yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive?
大丈夫？頭痛いの？
Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Rena.
顔色悪いよ。一人で帰れる？送ってった方がいいかな？
いや、いい。ごめん。一人で帰れる。部活はみんなでやってくれよ。
By hearing that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting, Mion pouted unhappily.
ケイちゃんがリベンジ熱望してたってんで、今日はせっかくこの間の推理ゲームにしたってのにな。ケイチさんにはリターンマッチに臨む熱いハートはありませんですの？
That face. I love when she makes that face. It's so fucking cute.
情けないですわね。
I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head.
ケイチ、具合悪そうです。
Aww.
かわいそうですよ。
It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. And it felt so nice, which made things even harder.
ごめんな。みんな。じゃあ。
That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. They said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. I managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind, took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Forward. Harder. Hard in the heart. Keiichi Marabara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them, because they were my friends. Part of me lamented my naivety, while another part lamented the fact that I had lost something important by laminating over it in the first place. It felt like my personality was being ripped in two, along with my body. If this is what Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, then it was just too harsh. Hey, Oyashiro-sama, I was wrong for not believing in your curse, but I believe in it now, completely. Your curse does exist. So seriously, give me a break. I beg you. Come on. Ugh. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about the time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, it either meant he had just reached a good point to take a break, or he was in a slump.
とにかく作家のモチベーションってものを理解してないんだよ彼は。
タイアップの話だって口約束なんでしょ。そんなに反りが合わないならきっぱりお断りしたら。
助け合いの世界だからお互い様だとは思うんだけど、これじゃ仕事にな。
I wasn't able to pick much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring lifelessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought process I had going on all day long. Friends close to me. No. They used to be friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted. People I could depend on when push came to shove. They were something I just didn't have. Having just one ally could have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. I put down my chopsticks and looked over at my parents, who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person from Hinamizawa I could trust 100%. That meant the only people I could trust were my parents. But if I told them everything that happened up until now, would they understand? Rina, for example. That neighborly Rina, who was so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day and sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained it, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No, by informing them of these unnecessary things, I've been putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Marbar family to have an accident or to just vanish into thin air was easily possible in Hinamizawa. That what was important here was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they don't know, my parents might not fall victim. That was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. Which means that this house would be a safe haven as long as my parents were in. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture, on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. it was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. Then the only person who could be my ally would be Oshi-san. Him, and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care so much about my safety, but he was, without a doubt, passionate about solving this case. It was a bit frustrating. Oshi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now, to get out of it, I had to rely on him. Meaning, it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves of bait. Then when the fish started gathering around, Oshi-san will pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So then, what should I do? Practice was the first rule of fishing. Practice. Patience. Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before it being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough and tag out to Oshi-san. No question. It was going to be hard. The timing to bring Oshi-san in would be difficult. He was in the city, not Hinamizawa. So if I phoned him in my moment of need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I need to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, set up a rendezvous point for dire situations or something. I just have to hide out there until Oshi-san arrived.
よし、少し見えてきたぞ。
I was still being chased around in the dark by a boogeyman. But now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined this would be so reassuring. Oh yeah. It'd probably be best if I had have a concealed weapon for when things get rough. Typically, that would call for a switchblade. But that wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat will work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. Could be confident with that when push comes to shove. If I pretended I was just practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to deter them. Also, one more thing. Insurance. It could be something like a note or a memo. I could write down everything that happened as sort of a journal. In case I suddenly vanish, the journal would be left behind. With my journal in his possession, Oshi-san would be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. I tore out a piece of paper from a notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. I was right. Japan, they give out summer homework. Oh, God. And the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead. So I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Keiichi Marabara, am in fear for my life. It made me laugh nervously as I was line that showed up often in detective stories. Never even dreamed that I would be in the type of situation where I write it myself. I do not know why they are after my life. Verena and the others were suspicious, but I have no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed wildly at myself for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Will the police be able to get the hint from reading this endemic passage? I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for the most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here, I laughed nervously. I was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I just thought of. This is the only thing I do know, is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much? I probably shouldn't write more than that. I never wrote any more. It would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person who had written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at that point. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was the chance that they would uncover it. On the other hand, it was in too obscure of a location. Then there was the risk of nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with scotch tape. After that, I put my clock back in its normal position. Yeah. It didn't look like anything was hiding behind it. Now I need to set up that if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied it made my way downstairs. My parents were still talking about work. Oh, God. How long is he up there? Didn't look like it was going to be the end anytime soon, so I couldn't.
話中ごめん。ちょっと聞いてもらっていいかな。
I never started off a conversation like that before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me.
どうしたのケイイチ？
お願いがあるんだけど、聞いてほしいんだ。
A favor, son.
もしもだよ。
ケイイチ、急ぎの話じゃなきゃ後にしなさい。お父さんとお母さんはちょっと今急ぎの話をしてるんだ。
Why is it mommy and daddy? Hey, Gage, he's 13. Some kids today still call their parents like that, so I didn't think their talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I saved my request.
もしもだよ。俺が死んだらさ。
Oh. Both my parents' eyes went wide as saucers. Of course they were. If you say something like that.
死んだらさ。俺の部屋にある時計、あれを棺に入れてほしいんだ。
They don't do coffins in Japan, though, right? And I need to do my research on that. If they did that, then they probably find it. My memoir. Both my parents remain wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them.
あの時計工作の授業で作ったお気に入りなんだ。頼むよ。
Oh God. His poor parents. Oh no. Oh no.
どうしたの？ケイチ、何かあったの？
A lot of things happen. A lot of things, but if he just told you, Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course, this was a normal response when someone's son suddenly talked about a subject like this. I felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. With the awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to go back up to my room.
俺さ、明日は早くに学校に行きたいから、もう寝るよ。おやすみ。
Saying only that, I left the living room. My boy! Oh God, his poor parents. His poor parents are like, they're just arguing about work and finances, and their only child drops something that huge on them. And he just leaves with no explanations. Oh, it's just because I like the clock, because I made it. I know his parents aren't that stupid. I need to get to school early tomorrow and secure that bat. I should make today the last day I went to school with Rina. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. This is something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine, and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anyone. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing. Oh, that's the end of the chapter. Alright, we're getting close to the end of Onikakushi. Oh, the cricket sound is so much refreshing compared to the endless sound of the Higurashi. I'm not feeling so hot. What is this little tip? Huh? What is it? What is it? What is it?
最近ケイチ君の元気がないね。機嫌が悪いのかな。
かな。
さーて、どうしたんだろうね。恋の病にでもかかってるんじゃないの？
She would be the kind of girl who made that joke.
みーちゃん、それ飛躍しすぎ。
What is that laugh?
どう思う？
さあね。
You know, like a little face.
ケイちゃんひょっとして。
わかんない。
What?
あの日、ケイちゃんと車で話してたの。中年のでっぷりした男だったんでしょ？
Oh no.
うん、間違いない。
大石のやつ、ケイちゃんに何を吹き込んでるのかな。
真剣そうだったよ。ケイチ君は顔面蒼白だった。
あのね、レナはよく知らないだろうけど。
No what?
実はあいつ、お社様の使いなんだよ。
Oh, we're getting to that now.
何の話？
あいつが現れるとね、必ず鬼隠しが起こるの。
Onikakushi.
本当だよ。
あれ、そうなの？
一昨年リカちゃんのお母さんが受水したでしょ。その直前に大石が尋問してたんだよ。
Oh! The year before last, Enrique-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Oshi.
そういえばサトシ君が転校する前にもいたね。
転校？
Transferred?
レナはいいやつだよな。
で、今度はケイチ君の前に現れたんだ。じゃあケイチ君も鬼隠しになっちゃう
Oh, they're speechless. An empty silence hung in the air, and then was suddenly interrupted. By loud laughter? Okay, that's actually kind of creepy. How they just cut to them laughing. Ooh, white screen. This was the first time I ever woke up with such clarity. It was 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. I had made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. I changed quickly and descended to the deserted lower floor. It appeared that my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday, I just unilaterally declared that I would be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. I slathered jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. Just as I was finishing up breakfast, Mom rose groggily from her slumber.
あらケイチ、今日は早いのね。
Hey, Mama.
学校の行事か何か？
別に。
Answering bluntly, I picked up my bag and stood after stuffing 2 slices of bread between my down my throat.
もう行くの？お弁当は？もうちょっと待ってくれないとできないわよ。
If I waited for her to make my lunch, then it would end up being the same time as usual. If I did that, it would raise the chances of me running into Rina and Mion on the way. Yes, from today onwards, I was going to go to school alone.
今日はいいよ。
じゃあお昼はどうするの？
抜け出して商店で菓子パンでも買うよ。
そう。じゃあこれお昼代ね。ちゃんとレシート持ってくるのよ。
I took the 1,000 yen bill from Mom and slipped into my pocket.
こんなに早いけど、レナちゃんたちもこんなに早いの？
いや、俺だけ。
レナちゃんには早く出るって伝えてあるの？
I have no reason to tell her every little detail. Now, do I? Kinda. You're still a little kid. You're still a kid. Finding it difficult answering the onslaught of questions, I made an annoyed face.
レナが来たら、ケイチは先に行ったって伝えてよ。
ちょっとケイチ、待ちなさい。
It's not that I didn't trust my parents. I just couldn't rely on them. I love that. Like George just boom. They couldn't help me. I can only hope that they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. Rude? You know, my parents' voice is a little bit annoying, but you just don't go out and say it. For the first time since I moved here, I headed down the road to school alone. Wait. Up until now, I had always walked down the same path at the same time each day. So I always met with the same people at the same places. but today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody at the places where I have normally met them. Of course, Rena wasn't in the spot when we usually met, and there wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with me on. The length of the trees, shadows, the morning air, and the brightness of the sun. It was a completely different type of morning from what I was used to. Without doubt, it felt strange. It left me with the impression that I had destroyed the illusion Hinamizawa had set up for me before it had enough time to prepare all the props needed to deceive me.
あら、ケイチ君。今朝は早いわね。みんなで早朝から待ち合わせ?
Who are you? Who are you? First who called out to me was someone we always passed by as they were talking a walk along the edge of the fields. Taking a walk along. That's it. Oh, my words. Oh. Their name was... forgot. Of course, this wasn't the spot where we usually passed each other.
今朝は早くに目が覚めちゃったので気分転換なんです。あまり気にしないでください。
I threw out a random excuse.
レナちゃんやミオンちゃんはどうしたんだい? 今日は一人なの?
ええ、まあ。
I was being asked the same type of questions my mom was asking, so I answered them in the same uninteresting, vague manner. It wasn't funny being asked where Rena was each time I passed by someone, but maybe it was to be expected. It was because for so long we were always together, so ambiguously. Even I felt that I let my guard down. We could still be friends. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. You spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, didn't you? Beep beep. Beep 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 beep. Car horn blared out of nowhere. Even though I was walking lost in thought, that horn was way too close. A mechanical behemoth barreled at me from behind, catching me completely off guard. By the time I turned around, the van's hulking chassis was almost on top of me. I seen plenty of cars veer to the opposite shoulder to avoid pedestrians. But this car was doing the opposite. It felt like there was somebody on the opposite shoulder, and the van was swerving in my direction to avoid them. That blissfully ignorant train of thought delayed me from realizing something much more important. The large mass was hurtling right at me. Was it going to hit me? The inside of my head instantly flooded with painfully cold liquid. In that moment, the scene before me, no, time itself had frozen. In the silence of that frozen moment, I compared the van so close that I had no way to dodge it, and my body, the upper half, twisted awkwardly in order to look behind me. There was no way I could dive out of the way in my current position. If I lost my focus now, this moment would unpause and I would probably be plowed over, caught in this silly pose. Bend my upper body over towards the paddy by the side of by the road. If I bent far enough, I get away with just being hit by the side view mirror. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, the temporal status was shattered in the defeating sound of the van. The side mirror struck my shoulder, sending me spinning off through the air like a top, locked in my contorted position. Sent tumbling forward the air, I crashed into the muddy paddy by the side of the road. My entire body was soiled and drenched. But the choice I had made in that instant was unmistakably for the best. I was covered in mud, but then the alternative was being hit by the car. It was the closest thing to being unscathed. Rising out of the paddy, I had enough in me to glare over at the stopped van and yell profanities at the driver. Oh! I missed the... I'm not sure if he was able to see me, but the van sped off suddenly. Well, damn it. This... What they call it? A hit and run? Wasn't it? I couldn't help but continue yelling out profanities. The disgrace from being covered in mud would hurt me more than any physical wounds. I slogged through the muddy paddy and made my way back onto the road. This is a crime. God damn it. Shit. I'll track you down and sue you. If I go looking for a van, I'm sure I'll find it in this little village. The path I was on had rice paddies on either side, and it had become so narrow that one car could barely fit through. It wasn't a place you could tear full speed down in a car, let alone pass by pedestrians. Not only was it a narrow road, the car just now was closer to my side of the road, and the other side when it went past me. Even as I cursed, I was deeply trying to suppress the dark cloud rolling up within me. This wasn't just a hit and run. That car just now was trying to run me over, wasn't it? Thinking back, I did feel like had been a car creeping up on me slowly for a while. That's right. As soon as I parted ways with that person taking a walk, I had that feeling the whole time. If it had wanted to pass me, then it had no shortage of chances. Normally, I would have felt suspicious and turned around sooner. But I was lost in thought, and now kicking myself for not realizing it was there sooner. When the path became narrow and there was no one else in sight, it floored it. If I had hesitated for even a moment, the result would have been no laughing matter. And the adrenaline rush from nearly being run over subsided, and the realization just how terrifying the preceding events were sunk in. There was no doubt about it. That van was intentionally trying to hit me. A cold, vicious sweat swept off from my scalp and slid down my back before dripping off. Sudden, the struggle to avoid falling to a panic. There was still the possibility this was just an accident. Calm down, Keiichi. But also don't be so naive, Keiichi. Being that lax will get you killed next time. You need to always be on your toes. Don't give them any openings. If my enemy was really out to kill me, then the next time they would use a more reliable method. That time came, and I was acting like I was now. Getting covered in mud was the price I had to pay. I had paid for my own naivety. Covered in mud, but without injury. Not even a sprain. Guess this was what you call the silver lining? I'm getting walking again, this time casually. I wouldn't even show a hint of carelessness. I had suspected only Rina and the others up until now. No, it was because I had suspected them that I had believed there were no That there were no other enemies. Oh, she said so. Oh, yawning, a stupid little demon. Didn't he? There was the possibility of a village conspiracy. Was I really mired so deeply in this situation that I had no choice but to try and carry on as usual? Wouldn't it be the safest just to hole myself up in the house? The moment I abandoned my regular routine, everyone around me would abandon theirs as well. That was just too horrifying of a thought. I call the tale of Oshizar. Told me when Hinamizawa was still called Onikakushi. Onikafuchi. A frightening tale of the entire village of demons hunting their prey, surrounding them, and eating them alive. One must not interfere with the demons. One must pretend not to see it. The enemy were numerous, the whole village. The villagers, with their unwavering faith in the curse, would do nothing to help me. The strong sudden flash of sunshine made me slightly dizzy. I had no idea what was going on anymore. When I suspected it was the work of a man, I would catch a glimpse of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And when I suspected it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, someone would poke their head out. What was the coincidence? What was the coincidence? What was intentional? Who was my enemy? Who was just a bystander? No, what I really truly wanted to know was, how did I end up with a proverbial bullseye painted on my back? Eventually, an answer in the form of a cloud will appear. I don't care when that will happen, because until then I cannot die. That also fueled my resolve to fight, and my will kept me alive. Good job, Keiji. Once again, I'm going to be right back. Give me... Where is this? Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. 2... back on. Alright, here we go. I remember seeing the metal bat in the gym storage shed, but there was a padlock on the door barring my entry. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at school. I circled the grounds, for the school grounds, impatiently. But all I could find were things like pieces of lumber, nothing that I could bring into the classroom easily. Then I had an epiphany. As I reached inside the classroom, as a search inside the classroom, if it was something in the classroom to begin with, then there wouldn't be no problem. I could tell that everyone's indoor shoes were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early. Nobody else was here yet. I wondered what I could find in the classroom. I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat. But it couldn't be helped at this point. Until the gym store shed was open, I need to find a substitute. A lingering hint of naivety whispered in that there was no way I'd be attacked at school. But such soft ideas would no longer protect me. To think that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I had once thought were impenetrable. In the worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. It was an incredibly frightening thought. But I believe that, not considering the worst case scenario, that had been even more frightening. Anyway, I will survive. So long as I live, then I will definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Definitely. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. That much was to be expected. There was no way there would be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of emergency, there's probably nothing I could do but swing my own chair around. Oh god, the chair. The chair memes. My gaze landed on the lockers that has come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Mion used to store her pile of games was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. Oh yeah, there was supposed to be a tracksuit in my locker. Seeing me covered in mud would be strange. Should I go change later? But first, I needed a weapon. If one of my classmates came in, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. I began to swiftly opening the lockers one by one. They were mostly just filled with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. An umbrella? If I couldn't find anything better, this would have to be my weapon. I was about to give up on finding anything decent when I opened a locker that held exactly what I wanted. It was, without a doubt, a metal baseball bat. Oh no. Oh no, here it comes. Here it comes, the baseball bat. It was well worn and pretty beaten up, but there was no doubt it was usable. In that locker that reeked of mold, there was also a huge baseball uniform. It was probably the locker of a student in a Pee Wee league or something like that. If that was the case, then he probably asked for it back. I wish he could. I wish he could. But at that time, I could hear the voices of the children shuffling their way noisily in from the hallway. Amongst them, I could make out Rika-chan and Satoko.
おはようございますです。
おはよう。
あらあらあら、今朝はお早いですわね、ケイチさん。
I nonchalantly hid the bat I was holding behind my back.
なんなんですの、その身なりは。
Rika gives no fucks.
泥だらけでしたよ。
ああ、まあちょっとあってな。すぐ着替えるから勘弁しろ。
Cut me some slack. With that said, I began taking off my clothes. Sadako began to blush, just as I expected her to. No, not to Arimoto. Not to Arimoto. I was... One second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. I had to get called away for a quick moment. How are we looking? Okay.
レディーの前でお着替えなんてしつけがなってませんことよ。
Sadako, if you're that upset, then why are you peeking?
着替えをじーっと見てるレディもしつけがなってないと思うぞ。
Ah, he got you there. He's got you there.
男子は更衣室がないんだから諦めろ。
Sadako feigns disgust as she went out into the hall, still blushing. Conversely, Rika-chan continued to stare at me, preparing to change.
リカちゃんもレディなら着替えを見てるのは良くないと思うぞ。
Rika-chan is a lady as well. Then I don't think it would be appropriate for you to be watching.
僕はレディーじゃないですからいいのです。
I know, lady. She deliberately pouted and looked at me with unturned eyes.
じゃあリカちゃんも今からレディだ。
Starting now, you are a lady. Lady Fruite.
レディーなら仕方ありませんです。
Nippa! Rika-chan appeared to be satisfied with being considered a lady, made by her way to join Satoko in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Rika-chan stopped suddenly and turned back towards me.
ケイチは野球を始めますですか？
No. It seems that Rika-chan had noticed the bat.
ああ、ちょっとさ。
Yeah, you know, so just a little game here and
体が
there.
なまってさ。ちょっと素振りでも始めようかなってな。
健康に気を使うのはとても良いことだと思いますです。
You can never read that expression. She was talking like an old lady, despite her appearance. After saying that, Rika-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked behind me once more.
そのバットなくさないでくださいねです。
Why? Why? It seems that she already knew I took out someone's locker. There was no name on the locker door. I didn't know whose pet it was, but I would be borrowing it until they complained. It wouldn't be for long, just until the gem storage shed was opened. After quickly changing to the tracksuit, I checked the time. So I had plenty of time before class began, because I came so early. I took the bat in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. That was, of course, to practice my swing. My swing. Swing. Am I saying that right? I need to make it known I will always have a bat on me, so I could practice my swing. At some point, the sunlight had become even stronger. Discarding my classmates as they made their way to school, I took my position in the shadow of the school building. It wasn't that academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. I might get muscle pain if I just suddenly start swinging. Or should at least start out with some warm-ups. I doubt anyone would think I was doing something out of the ordinary. Which was the exact opposite of my actual mental state. I gripped the bat and swung lightly. No. God, I gained PTSD from the sound of the bat from the beginning. The bat was by no means light. The weight would make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only pray that the moment I needed to use this as a weapon would never come. Just carrying it around could deter attacks against me. At least, that's what I hoped. Ugh! Just a tricking the Higurashi cries. Her faces look so disappointed. Yeah, it's me. Swinging. Being bombarded with such a hysterical voice, I jumped. It was Rina and Mion.
先に行ったって言われて驚いたけど、ケイちゃん、あんた何やってるわけ？
見てわからないかよ。素振りだよ、甲子園だよ。別にダイエットでもいいぞ。
ダイエットってケイちゃん、そんなに太ってたっけ？
ああ、知らなかったろ。実は三段腹なんだ。もちもちでタプタプなんだぞ。も
ちもちでタプタプ。
Oh no, she's gonna think it's cute.
レナ、変な想像しなくていいぞ。
To disrupt Rina from imagining something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily. Plumps and jiggles. Okay, I have an idea what she was thinking about. Rina, you're supposed to be a good girl. Why are you thinking such things?
じゃあまあ、頑張って県大会を目指してちょうだいよ。おじさん応援してるわ。野球部の強い高校教えよっか。そこにいる左腕の亀田くんがすごいピッチャーなんだけどさ。頑張ってね。
Seems that they're already taking me for a baseball nut. But, oh well. Well, if I really did make it to the championship, it would be a cinch. Yeah, a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and the catcher. I pitched the ball, then ran past the ball I just threw, and changed over to being the catcher in a burst of super incredible explosive speed. I laughed dryly at the ludicrous image. Coming back to my senses, I smashed the bat against the ground. Good chat between friends? Pound the ground over and over. With each impact, the reverberation traveling through the bat stung my hands. They smile at me like that. Don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone. No matter how many times I tell myself, They made me smile like that. Ow. I already knew quite well that there were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. But I just couldn't believe it. Did that kind of split personality really exist? Like how Rena confessed to the doctor, they were simply being possessed by Oyashiro-sama. In other words, did a supernatural being like Oyashiro-sama really exist? It was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah. That would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along and everything was just Oyashiro-sama's fault. I yelled out, drawing out all the power from the pit of my stomach, and raised the bat violently into the air. I'm not soft, boy. It's not soft to want to believe in people. As I screamed out with all my might, I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. The very impact, my weakness was being beaten down. Smash. Forget. Don't be soft. Know your enemy. Like hell, I'll let them kill me. My shoulders heaving up and down from my ragged breathing. I heard the first bell ring just as I calmed down. What's going on? What's happening? I gasped with sudden realization. That was the final bell? As I felt all the tension drained from me, I let out a deep breath. My mind was in a muddled state for much of the entire day. Didn't feel like I was awake, but I didn't feel like I was asleep either. Couldn't say it felt especially comfortable, but I felt kind of relief that the sanctuary of the school part of my daily life had it to be violated. How long would I have to keep on living like this? I could only grit my teeth and bear with it as this living hell slowly gnawed away at me.
Keiichi-kun!
Hey!
やろやろ部活の時間なんだよ。
だよ? Sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my senses.
ほらほらケイちゃんぼーっとしない。机を寄せて寄せて。
Everyone's moving their desks together as usual. That's right. It was happy, fun club time. But I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag as I prepared to go home. It was a weak-handed gesture to avoid having to actually say, I'll be going home now.
なんだよケイちゃん。今日も直帰なわけ？
Mion sounded quite disappointed.
気分が乗らないんだ。しばらくほっといてくんないかな。
The tone of my words that spilled out of my mouth matched Mion's disapproving glare. I felt like the air in the room had dried out. Sadako looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps dissuaded by the mood. She swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said a thing. I took that to mean that I could leave if I wanted. But the collective gaze of the four of them, like tiny pins used to mount an insect in display held me in place. Rena was the one who cut through the heavy mood.
圭一君、やっぱり女の子と一緒に遊ぶのなんか嫌だったかな
No, it's not it. She said in such a melancholic tone that it sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. This was the pain to kill me. I wanted to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore at my chest violently, tearing out the pins that held me in place.
そういうわけじゃねえよ。
I'd only be hurting myself by saying something more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned away and exited the classroom. They didn't speak words to me as I left. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. I firmly squeezed the grip of the bat, which was already sogging from sweat. Realizing that I wiped it down with my sleeve, if something were to happen, I wouldn't want it to be slippery. Since this morning, I've become especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while walking, my ears picked up and sought out threatening sounds and presence that could be closing in. And that was why I could hear it. Without a doubt, there were footsteps. Those footsteps had matched up perfectly with mine for a while now. From what I could sense, it was just one person. But I had no intention of being careless. Did they intend to follow me, like that car this morning, until we were in good location to assault me? Then it wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking and looked back. The wooden path crowded with trees and responded with silence, as if there was nobody there to begin with. But I couldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps were following me. And just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped as well. I mean that the person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was, without question, proof that I was their target. I held my breath, waiting for that presence to panic and start moving again. The trees rustled with the sounds of the wind. The Higurashi also joined in this discant chorus, trying to throw my focus into disarray. Had 5 minutes passed? Or had it been like this the whole 13 minutes? It was so hard to breathe that I might have suffocated. It seemed I would be the first one to panic. Without doubt, he was lurking in the shade of that tree with bated breath. Then, I make the first move. I fixed the grip on the bat. I raised it to my shoulders to be ready to swing at any time.
おい、いるんだろそこに。
With all my might, I screamed at whoever was hiding in the shade of the tree. But the presence in the shade didn't budge. Till the moment I found them, they had no intention of revealing themselves.
分かってんだよ。そこにいるのはよ。
I screamed out angrily at them, but even still, they didn't move at all. Then I'll go over there myself. If they due diligence, I approached step by step. Stepping into the tree shadow, I saw a human figure there. That figure was curled up like a small animal.
Lena.
When she realized I had found her, her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but wasn't going to speak a word.
なんか俺に言おうかよ。
I won't accept that silence and screamed the question at her.
別にその
Rena was in a panic, with tears swelling up in her eyes. But it was obvious that she had been following me. Oh, fuck. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Let me mute this real quick. Yeah, I was just trying to put something over in the microphone and just reach over and my elbow bumped it. Oh god, this probably sounded awful for you guys. Sorry. Where's this thing real quick? I need to fix this too. While we're doing this. Alright, let me see. What's all this extra noise? Okay, let me see this real quick. I can't hear anything right now. This is muted. Okay, no, I can hear it. Yeah, is that all the fan? Probably. Okay. You back? Wanna draw? Okay, let's focus back on the game. Renee was in a panic, with tears swelling up in her eyes. But it was obvious that she had been following me.
部活はどうしたんだよ。
圭一君がお休みしたからレナもお休み。
Aww.
関係ないだろ。俺なんか気にしないで遊んでろよ。
だって圭一君のこと心配で。
Aww. Thinking about how I've been acting up until now, it wasn't hard to imagine that my behavior would have been perceived as strange. So Rena was concerned. At a quick glance, that's how it would seem. But I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. Even if that was really the case, she still wouldn't have to do something like that to tell me. She should have called out to me when I was leaving and gone right with me. But Rena didn't do that. She kept her distance from me and matched my walking speed. On top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps. And she deviously tried to hide her presence from me. Then, after she realized I noticed she was there, she held her breath, and she was trying to hide from me. She wore a timid expression that would force one to take pity on her, but without a doubt, she was tailing me.
もうついてくんなよ。
Still glaring at Rena, I continued walking onwards. After I walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again. So I yelled at her once again.
ついてくるなって言ってるだろ。
だってレナの家も同じ方向だし。
じゃあレナが先を歩けよ。レナが見えなくなったら俺も歩く。
I moved out of the way and waved my bat violently to urge her forward.
レナは圭一君と一緒に帰りたいな。
Oh, poor Rena. just hurt so much knowing the truth. And making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out the words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. That agitated me to no end. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, you should have called out to me. Now you're just blurting out random lies. And seeing that the seething anger within me was written all over my face. Even without saying anything, Irina had understood what I was feeling inside. I swung the bat again, urging her to walk. Irina looked back and forth between me and the bat and started walking hesitantly, then stopped again. Rina guarded herself while pointing at me holding the bat. She may have realized that I wasn't planning to using this bat for baseball. I lowered the bat, but still guardedly opened the way for her. There was nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly, as to not set me off. So I watched her pass by. She stopped completely after having barely moved at all. What is his music? What is the sound? Then a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. Rubbing my eyes with my left hand, I swung violently with the bat in my right, protecting the small opening I had presented. But Rena didn't even try to attack during the opening. Attack me? No, she hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. As her skirt settled, so did the silence. At that moment, the voice inside me immediately warned me of impending danger. I was caught by surprise. The smell of the air had changed. Without realizing, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity would befall me. Like the air has suddenly become invisible concrete, like Irina and I were locked in this space. Irina didn't move an inch. And also, unable to move, I stared at her back. Irina was the first to break the silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. It felt like I just witnessed her shift from Rina into that other person who looks like Rina. But the voice that was once, the voice was once I knew well, which filled me with a kind of bewildering pity. Curiously, I felt relief upon hearing that pitiful voice.
ごめんね。聞いてもいい？
Too shy to even turn around, Rena squeezed her voice out desperately. She trembled.
なんだよ。
どうしてバットなんか持ってるのかな？
question Rena asked was no means unexpected.
俺が何を持ってたっていいだろ。
でも昨日まで持ってなかったし、どうして突然。
別に突然でもいいだろ。俺がバットを持ってるとおかしいかよ。
だって圭一君野球とかしない人だったでしょ。おかしいよ。
I could tell what kind of answer she was looking for, and I was getting tired of answering her.
突然野球がしたくなったんだよ。それじゃおかしいか。
おかしいよ。
She answered instantly, and that annoyed me slightly.
突然野球がしたくなった。素振りがしたくなったからバットを持ち歩いてる。それのどこが変なんだよ。
変。
Strange?
おかしい。
Weird.
絶対。
Definitely.
なんで圭一君まで。
Why you too?
ぶつくさとうるせえやつだな。俺がスポーツに目覚めるのがそんなに変かよ。
Tried to sound a bit more threatening to the end of the conversation, until my suspicions about Rena were cleared. I had no obligation to answer her questions.
ごめんね。そんなに怒らないで。
Rena still didn't turn around and spat out words of apology, one after the next.
最後に一個だけ教えて。
Okay?
これ以上話す気も教える気もねえよ。早く行けよ。
I yelled loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her in such a pathetic state caused my heart to ache shortly. But even though she was afraid, she suddenly kept herself from moving. Before I was able to threaten her again, Rena asked her final question.
なんでバットまで同じなの。
Oh no. Woo, the spiral of madness is going further. What did she mean by the same bat? By the same. I had no idea what she was talking about.
お前何言ってんだ。
だからなんでバットまで同じなのかなって。
何を言ってんだか全然わかんねえよ。もっとはっきり言え。
Even still, Rena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she...
だからどうしてバットまでサトシ君と同じなの。
Oh
サトシって。
no. By hearing that name out of the blue, I became dumbfounded for a brief moment. By Satoshi, does he mean the student who transferred out last year? No, that couldn't be it. Rita had tried to cover it up by saying he transferred. But Oshi-san told me quite clearly he was missing. He was a student who sat at my seat. Up until last year, he was believed to have been demoned away by Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The aunt he lived with was killed the night of the Wachanagashi by a drug addict. Not long before that, he suddenly vanished and was now missing. That Satoshi and I were... What? My gaze fell to the bat in my hands. Could it be Satoshi Hojo? It's a bit difficult to see, but that was what was written on the bat, on the white tape at the end of the bat. I see. So this was Satoshi's bat.
ああ、これサトシのバットだったんだな。誰も使ってなかったんでちょっと借りたんだよ。いいだろそれくらい。
そんなことじゃないの。
The way Rena said that made it seem like this bat was something that should never be touched. Like it was some sort of offering at a shrine or a memento to the deceased. He could only stand there, perplexed and unable to respond. Rena continued speaking without waiting for reply.
サトシ君の時とどうしてそんなにまで同じなの？
Oh no. Rena was talking about more than just the bat belonging to Satoshi.
サトシ君もそうだった。野球チームには入ってたけど、本当は野球なんか好きじゃない人だったのに。
それが俺とどう関係が？
サトシ君もある日突然バットを持ち歩き始めたの。チームに入ってただけでスポーツなんかしない人だったのに。
What about it? I closed my mouth before I could say that out loud. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Rena is trying to tell us something important.
サトシ君もね、ある日突然一人で登校するようになったの。ケイチ君みたいに。そしてね、ある日突然素振りの練習を始めたの。ケイチ君みたいに。そしてね、ある日突然バットを持ち歩くようになったの。ケイチ君みたいに。
Oh, Rena's voice is so sad. Can you hear the pain?
そしてね、ある日突然。
Then one day, he suddenly... What? Rena had swallowed her words. Rena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. It was then that I could finally digest the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. What was the meaning of this? Up until now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. I never paid much thought to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything off of what he's done. Oh, wrong one. My actions today should have been my own creation. After all the planning I'd done. But they have been the exact same as Satoshi's. Then Satoshi, no more importantly, if both Satoshi and I acted the same way, then there was really a good probability that what's happening would be the same.
レナ、ある日突然サトシはどうしたんだよ。
Rena knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to the guy in the past. Rena knew what was going to happen to me.
答えろよ、レナ。サトシはどうしたんだよ。
Then I grabbed Rena's shoulder violently and forcefully turned her around to face me. Why did the music stop? Why did the music stop? As I faced her, I felt the joy traveling through my entire body.
言ったよね。
Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that.
ケイチ君。
It was that person that I didn't know. At least, it definitely wasn't the Rena Ryugu I had been talking to up until now. The voice just now didn't have a trace of the trembling or emotion that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. That gaze that pierced like a cold needle, the smile on her face that invoked an image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Both Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. as if to remind me of the fear that from the time before, Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breath. Her face had filled my entire vision. Then her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper. Like the curve of a crescent moon, she grinned.
言ったよね、
Told me what?
圭一君。
After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again.
サトシ君はね、転校しちゃったの。
He's not blind. He didn't transfer. Transferred, meaning what? What Rena meant must have been some new definition of transfer that I was previously not aware of. My throat and lips dried up. I couldn't even acknowledge what I just heard. All I could do now was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Rena saw that as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees pathetically. Rena and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. But I could neither stand nor escape with her gaze shooting through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hands. But right now, it was useless to me. It was like a fly caught in the web. Heavy sweat bedded all over my body. I could feel it dripping down my skin.
しないよね、
What?
圭一君は。
Rena finally released me from that cage of time after what had felt like an eternity. But her question was missing something important and was incredibly vague. Once again, I swallowed hard, urging her on.
何をだよ。
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? What does she want me to do?
転校。
I love these voice actors. They're so good. The chills. Yes, I want to transfer. I want to transfer out of this town. Oh, God. A stare. It's just a still image, but God, I can feel it trying to rip apart my soul. Oh, we got a new thing. Pitch hitter. So what time is it right now? We got 2 hours. Maybe for 2 hours. We're almost actually done with this, with Onikakushi. I guess we need to go on for a little bit longer. Before I won't fall asleep on you guys. I'll keep yawning like a crazy person. Give me a drink. Yeah, I just say yawn like a crazy person. God, I'm so stupid. I don't know what I was trying to say. I'm stupid. You guys need to know that already. So Toshi and I had what? All my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi had he really been in the same situation as I was now? The friends he had gotten along with had changed suddenly and for no reason. At least none that I noticed planned to kill him. Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got back to protect himself and carried it around every day to practice his swing. And then one day, suddenly, he transferred. My blood went cold, causing a prickly sensation to course through my veins. starting near my heart, irradiated outwards from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Was Satoshi still wherever he transferred to? Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The fridge knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? It wasn't that odd of an occurrence. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the single key attached to my first seal keychain. I stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. What? Okay, what? Like a classmate messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? Yeah, to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space all the way through the door. But there was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey now, Keiji. How do you know they're there, even though they're behind you? It's like I hear the sound of flowing hair. There's no other reason I hear that sound. That was the presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking. Keiji Marabara, there's no way you could hear that. My most base instincts were warning me of the presence. Common sense was telling me that it was just my imagination. It's just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. But at the same time, I asked myself, there was nobody, then what was the feeling? Then what was I feeling? As an uncomfortable hesitation crawling up my spine. Actually, it wouldn't be better if there was somebody there? If there was somebody there, then you turn around. Would you be able to accept that? I'd be able to answer all of those questions just by looking behind me. But I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Alright, I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just as long as I didn't turn around. If I had calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that what would have solved anything.
どなたですか?
I spoke in a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. I could almost feel them complimenting the response. I felt it. There's no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Kate. He's all in your head. This time I was certain I heard it. Heard what? As I hesitantly tried to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody inhaling. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but tiny specks of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired by a primal yet fitting solution to this current predicament. Scream. All the force of my body released from my lungs, through my throat, and ceasing all process in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. Until the moment I turned around, I brought the area behind me into the field of vision. They were definitely there. Facing up, my eyes traced the remnants of the presence suspended into empty space. It couldn't be. They were invisible? It looked like they weren't there, but they were actually still standing there. As I screamed, all of the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. However, I was decently calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. That emotion was definitely required to exonerate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. My state of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. The metal bat held firm in my right hand as I drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remember reading something like that in a book about swordsmanship or something. I bashed my will to fight. I brandished my will to fight. The aftermath of the amalgamation of mental flashes as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed to the right wall, the tip rebouncing violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force to the other rebound into a sweep to the left. The door of the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Those two swings swifted through the empty space, but they seemed to have a great physiological impact on the enemy. Psychological. I feel the panic. Oh. Oh no. Wait, what? What happened? Two swings swift through the empty space, but they seem to have a great psychological effect on the enemy. I could feel the panic emanating from the space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. I exacted the bat from the cupboard it was embedded in and screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. My scream shook the air, imbuing my ferocious swing even more destructive power. Without mercy restraint, my violent strike, with certainly fatal force behind it, shattered the top of the cupboard. And then my attack struck the enemy, but my ferocity has certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat. The invisible enemy there, but not there, disappeared. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat. The invisible enemy there, but not there, disappeared. When I was certain that the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. In a way, had it only feigned retreat, but was now inside my house. Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence, but it was gone. I succeeded in fending it off. That moment, the tension drained from my body, and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All the emotions I had been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. a hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief, all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back into the strongest exhaustion. Even in this moment, I remain composed. After checking all the doors throughout the house, they were locked. I went to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. After clearing my mind of all the idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There was definitely something there. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition. I dreamt up in my confused state, but I really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, Keiji Marabara. Compose yourself. But no matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon, and without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion. I saw it amidst my confusion and duration. Proof. It was like poof for a second. Poof. Poof. Proof. Had just one piece. When I asked who is it, they inhaled that they were about to answer. The sound was clearly reached my ears. The situation was right now was still clear. Either I had been possessed by the supernatural phenomenon known as Oyashiro-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Rena and the rest of them doing it. But it would be solvable. Oshi-san and the rest of the police surely arrested the enemy. But if it was a manifestation of Oyashiro-sama's curse, I wonder what would happen. Oshi-san was very clear, declared that the curses didn't exist. At that time, those words were pretty dependable, but as things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, he suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oshi-san this was the work of Oyashiro-sama's curse, what would happen? I could imagine his reaction, but it would go without question that a void would also expand rapidly between myself and Oshi-san. With me having so few allies to begin with and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse, there was no merit to doing that. I better keep the facts of what just happened at the doorway to myself. It'd be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind the clock. There was still the ever so slight possibility that I was actually confused when I thought I was composed and I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was really what had happened? I would be able to refute Oyashiro-sama's curse. But if I deny Oyashiro-sama's curse, then what would it would mean admitting that Rena and the rest were perpetrators? If I said that Rena and the rest were the perpetrators, then that would mean believing in Oshi-sama's curse and Oyashiro-sama's curse. By denying both of them, I would be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options which I couldn't choose became a trilemma of sorts. They were pasted together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what actually happened as reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. But I couldn't think of it. How wonderful would it be if I turned out I was delirious, and everything up until now was a figment of my imagination. Oyashiro-sama's curse wouldn't exist, and I would still be the bestest buddies with Rina and the rest. Just getting to pause this one more time. Sorry I keep pausing, and I've been feeling oh, am I really have that much off the screen? I'm gonna move myself. Yeah, just be a little bit too TMI. Been feeling kind of icky recently. That's one of the reasons why I keep moving up. I keep getting up. Just give me another minute or two, real quick. Yay, we're back. Like I said, I am feeling kind of icky-ish, so we might end pretty soon. I'll probably give it around 10 to 15 minutes. I would have to be crazy. The first time in my life I never wished for such a thing. What's happening? Ooh, a ring. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls from me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I squirmed off the bed and went downstairs.
もしもし、前原です。
ケイチ、お母さんだけど。
Hi, Mom! Intuitively, I had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things. So I took the initiative.
何？別に俺、夕食はインスタントでもいいよ。まだいっぱいあったでしょ？
The other day, we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kind of things. Actually, but they refused since the individual packs were expensive. So instead, I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavored ones I liked. But my parents don't like strong flavors and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboard were still full of them.
だからさ、
They're
買
all
い物に行く必要は
mine.
ないんじゃないの？
ケイチ、買い物のお願いじゃないの。お父さんとお母さんね、お仕事の関係で急遽東京に行かなくちゃならなくなったの。
え？今から？
Yeah. This was really abrupt.
もう着いちゃってるの。お昼には出発してたからね。
It's quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Getting at full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Dad had a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer.
ケイチもお父さんとお母さんの話を聞いてたからわかるかもしれないけど、お父さんのお仕事の契約がね、今ちょっとうまくいってないの。
Now that she mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all about how his job prospects weren't looking so good.
お父さんはそういうのに繊細な人だから、このままだとお仕事にも影響が出ちゃうの。
Part of my father's particular fragile artistic personality, his emotions changed as easily as the sky fell. You could also just say he couldn't take criticism. Oh god, I'm
でも、
those people.
そんなの電話でやり取りすればいいじゃないか。
ケイチ、お父さんのお仕事なんだから、もうちょっと応援してあげて。ね。とにかく電話よりも直接会って話した方が早いの。
Yeah, that is best to do certain things in person.
誤解もないし。
As their son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work.
だから帰るのは明日の晩になっちゃうの。ケイチ、一人で大丈夫よね。
別に死にゃしないよ。
ケイチ、死んじゃうなんて軽々しく言っちゃダメよ。心配事があったら相談してね。母さん、きっと相談に乗れると思うから。
Aww. Casey, talk to your parents. It was so much more than you know. Yesterday, I did bring up if I die rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. But really, I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying. At least not while I still knew nothing. I would never allow it.
死なないよ。俺は あがいてでも生き延びる。
じゃあね。
See you then.
明日の朝ちゃんと起きるのよ。朝ごはんは食べてね。お風呂と歯磨きも忘れないのよ。
Oh, that's so cute.
へいへい。そんじゃ。
The call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings. But Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. The times they did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. I can say those circumstances didn't feel strange or rather unnatural. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. Tonight I was the only one in the house. That when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone, missing, vanished, demoned away. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving Oya Shirosama's curse, it wouldn't have seemed that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was a good idea that the only light on the whole house was from my room, on the second floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone and this was their chance. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god! First, I ran into the living room, flicked on the lights, and turned the TV on to a reassuring volume. Next was the study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside, it would look like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I needed to take it down. I snatched down the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. I should be fine now. The garage. They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, but they had gone to Okinawa Station. The garage was empty, wide open in plain sight. This was not good. I panicked and rushed out to the back to close the normally open garage door. I should be fine now. I need to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since they left in the afternoon, the evening paper was still there. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the entryway. This was, for sure this time, it should be fine. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that from my little freakout was kind of bad. I have to say, I tripped and fell, and the bat I was holding smashed into it. Even so, leaving in its current state wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. I remember that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet, so I was going to get them. The phone rang once again.
もしもし、前原です。
あら、圭一くん、お母様はいらっしゃいますかしら。
Who is this?
今ちょっといないんですけど。
You idiot, Kage and Marabara. Don't reveal your parents are gone? You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it.
すぐに戻ると思います。
That wasn't a good response either. Now they might say...
結構です。
Wait, what? Now they might say they'll call again or to tell her to call them when she gets back.
大した話でもありませんから。では、失礼しますわね。
That voice is so familiar. Who was that? Who was that? The scenario I feared didn't play out. Lightningly a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I had to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone calls just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I need to make a good story to explain that my parents weren't home, but I couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They were making tempura. I couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good either. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. It was like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick it up, but I knew I had to. They suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize it was. Since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted the receiver.
もしもし。
I stopped announcing this was my bar residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But I like the uncoughed voice. The person on their side sounded goofy and lighthearted.
どうも、夜分遅くに申し訳ありません。私、沖宮書房の大石と申しますが。
大石さんですか。
前原さんですか。
Yes, it is.
こんばんは。お元気そうで何よりです。
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
About time this old bastard called us. I grabbed the portable handset and rushed to my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was, since there was no one else home. But I wanted to be in a spot that just felt a bit safer. I was speaking on the phone with Oshi-san.
お待たせしました。
Actually, what should I do? Should I go now? Keep going. Because we're almost done with Onikakushi. Almost done. Probably should just call it a night though. Because I had other things I need to get done. 1 second, let me go back to the standard screen. Yeah, so we'll probably just call it for tonight because there are some other things I need to finish. I can't spend all the time reading Higurashi, even though that I really, really want to. I want to experience it with you guys. I want you all to learn and read this amazing story. But we're gonna call it for the night. And let me. Probably just let's say like a dark screen right now. Okay, a second. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Thank you all for joining me tonight on the stream. I hope you all had a decent, wonderful, awesome time. Or if you had an awful time, just let me know. I understand that if you didn't like a one bit of what's happening. How many people we have with us right now? I'm getting 1 viewer to 2 viewers. I have no idea. But I did want to try to read someone tonight. Oh, I'm the only person streaming Higurashi. That's of course. But I do want to. Let's see who's out tonight. Who do we know? Who could use a view or two? Let me see. No rateable channels available for your channel. Okay. I'm guessing. Oh, there we go. There we go. GG Productions. Let me see her. GG. Yeah, I think I've catch one of her streams before. She's a pretty fun person. Yeah, let's gonna raid Gigi. Let's give her some attention, okay, guys? So yeah, thank you all for showing up tonight, even just for a little bit. You know, I highly, highly, highly appreciate it. And I will see you all tomorrow. We are going to be, what are we doing tomorrow? Yeah, we're just going to be hanging out a bit, just watching a couple videos. I may even do a little small writing session. Nothing you probably guys could help with, but actually no, it'd be kind of fun if you guys wouldn't mind bouncing ideas with me while I attempt to write something. That'd be kind of fun, at least for me. But yeah, thank you all guys. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, and I'll catch you then. Alright, bye-bye. That's not the thing. Here we go. Alright, here's the thing. Alright, bye-bye guys. See you later.